Hi everyone, it's Wednesday, time for Wisdom Wednesday. Thought I'd do it outside today. How about that? Isn't it a lovely view? So we're here in Santa Fe and it's our second week here, and life is going along well, doing a lot of telemedicine and phone consults, and that seems to be working out well. And I thought today, rather than really delve into a lot of sciencey things, a lot of people always ask, well, what do you do as far as what do you take on a regular basis? And so I thought I'd kind of walk you through generally what I do. And just so you know, I tend to cycle in and out of things. I don't always take the same thing every day, but we do, just like I recommend for my patients, I do a basic sort of med packs type supplement every day. I do a multivitamin. I do some B vitamins. I do fish oil, generally some curcumin. I do my D3K2 probiotic. And at night, I always take quite a bit of magnesium. I tend to need a little more magnesium than most folks. Started off taking 2 on a regular basis at bedtime, and now at times can be 4 or 5 a night. And when I travel, I can go up to 3 to 4 twice a day, just depending on how my bowels are working with travel. And so as a general rule, I do just a basic supplementation program, but then I do some other things that we've talked about through the last year and a half, 2 years of these videos, and I just thought I would share that with you. I'm trying to put together a longevity program that's going to kind of have a gold and a silver, gold, and maybe platinum type program, depending on what you might need at the time. And it really all depends on your individual need and what you're trying to work on, because as we've talked about these hallmarks of aging and some of the things that we now can test for, I'm looking at some testing for rate of aging, as well as something called a telomere length. And using that information, we can then set up some protocols that might help slow this rapid aging thing that we have going on, and to perhaps increase those telomeres, those little end caps on the end of our DNA. And so what I'm doing, in addition to just my normal supplements, I do make a homemade yogurt, because this is what was recommended by David Sinclair in his book. So I thought, well, I would just follow that. So I have a tablespoon or 2 of that every morning, and that's really the only dairy that I do. And I put in a bit of my spermidine, and I put in my NNM resveratrol trimethylglycine powder. I have a combination powder that I use, and then I also put in my urolithin A, or my timeline powder. So I put all that in there, and I do that generally most mornings. I try to have it limited because I don't want to break my fast, because I tend to do intermittent fasting. I rarely have breakfast. I tend to eat around noon or 1 o'clock most days, and I try to finish dinner by 7 p.m. so that by the time I go to bed at 10, I've had a good 3 hours since my last intake of any food. Try to limit all snacking if I can. If I need a little something and I'm just ready to chew an arm off, I do have some macadamia nuts that I'll have a few of those. And then as far as other things in between there from an anti-aging standpoint, we're looking at, of course, peptides, which we've been talking about these last several weeks, and trying to help folks from a weight standpoint. So we're starting the semaglutide protocol. I thought, well, I can't prescribe it for anybody if I haven't tried it myself. So I'm starting that program. I'm going very slowly because I just don't like to be queasy, and nausea is one of the side effects. So I'm keeping that very low dose, and just to see how that works. And looking also at some BPC 157 and some of the other peptides that are there, and we'll walk through those as we look at formulating this longevity program. And as far as exercise goes, I'm making sure that I walk every day. I know that we've talked an awful lot about sarcopenia and muscle tone. So I do a lot of muscle work. I do a day of upper body, a day of lower body, and then a day of core. I don't have a gym here, and so I am just outside walking quite a bit, getting in a good 10,000 steps most days. And that's what I have here today. I am playing some golf, which is great. It's wonderful to have some other types of movement that is enjoyable. We know from study after study that having community, tennis players, pickleball players, golfers tend to have a longer life, actually, just because of having a community that you can stay with as you age. And all of these things tend to have that. I'm wearing my Aura ring, so I'm making sure that I get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night and really working on getting that deep sleep. It's been a big change for me here because when I come to altitude, my heart rate goes up. So my heart rate variability is now different and I don't get great scores with that, but it's starting to get better and my deep sleep's starting to get better. My first week was not very good at all, just adjusting from, essentially a sea level altitude to about 7,000 feet. So that's another thing that's going on. And then, of course, stress here has been fairly low, which is great. We've had a few friends in, and I had my family in over Labor Day, so that was just busy, but wonderful. And so making sure that we maintain some form of community has been great out here. So stress levels have been low, and of course, as a hormone doc, I manage to make sure that I keep my hormones going just like you all are doing as well. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of insight into what we're hoping to move toward, putting together some protocols for folks that need help with sleep, folks that need help from a cardiovascular protection, trying to help increase the benefits of blood flow. We may look at more nitric oxide types of supplements that increase blood flow to brain and heart, and trying to come up with packages and protocols and programs that will suit your needs, but yet not be something that's going to be cost prohibitive or that's going to be lifelong. Things just change, and certain times of year, certain times of experiences that we just need to have some more intensive care from a preventive standpoint. And that's the goal here, is just to stay healthy, prevent the long-term aspects of chronic disease, compress that illness phase of life to the end of life, and be as functional in our world as possible. Hopefully that's given you some ideas. If you have any questions or concerns, or you'd like to explore this further, please let us know. You all have a great day, and we'll talk again next week.